So here we are inside the 2019 Focus ST. Now, initial impressions of inside this car. Obviously it's completely different to the Mark III. We've got the whole new dashboard layout. Everything has pretty much been changed inside the car as well as outside the car. So to start off with, seating. These Recaro seats, very similar to that of the Fiesta. Very comfortable, very hugging. They do hold you quite tightly. They have loosened things up a little bit here at the shoulders. So you do kind of, move around a little bit at the top, but overall the seats are very comfy. They do tend to feel a little bit hard after a long journey on the sort of lower back. They are fairly firm, but I suppose in a means of keeping you supported in the chair, that's kind of a little bit of a trade-off that you have to expect. Both electrically adjusted, both heated, lumbar support as well as electric. No problems whatsoever. In the lowest setting, it's a really nice seating position. I find the position nice and low. I just feel like I'm sort of sunk in the car. It feels sporty. So seats, not really any real complaints. And they look good as well with the leather and the half Alcantara. Moving around the interior as well. Now, I did moan a little bit about the Fiesta ST that some of the plastics and stuff weren't the best quality. Unfortunately, it is the same in the Focus. It kind of almost feels like it's taken a slight step down in quality from the Mark III. It looks nice, and your main touch points, as always, are nice. Like your gear stick leather feels nice, your steering wheel's really nice and chunky, and the leather feels nice and good quality on the steering wheel. But it's just things like the door cards. It's actually a plastic faux leather with fake stitching. It's not real leather and stitching. So I think that would have been nice if that was real leather on the door cards, and maybe just kind of improve the quality slightly of the plastics around the speakers, around the sort of center console area too. But other than that, the inside of this car is a nice place to be. We've got ST mats with nice stitching around the edges. There's nice storage areas in front of the gear stick here, a huge area for your wallet and your keys and whatever else you want to put in there. You've still got your cup holders that we had in the Mark III. However, we do lose a little secret compartment now. You used to be able to put big bottles in and stuff, because this one sits lower, so there's not enough room for that. But you've still got the slidey drinks holder. You've got your armrest with USB connectivity. There's 2 USB ports in this car, and the car also has Apple CarPlay on the Sync 3 system. In the rear of the car, there's quite a lot of room. I'm 5'8", 5'9" on a good day, and when I'm sat in the back with the seat in my position, there's plenty of room. There's ample room in front of my knees. They're nowhere near to hitting the back of these seats. So if you were kind of 6 foot, 6'2", and you had the seat slid back even further, there still wouldn't be too much of an issue in the back. There is plenty of room. You've got a cup holder in the middle as well, in the middle of the 2 seats at the rear. Nice little touch. If you've got 2 people in the back and they want to have a coffee, it's somewhere to put the coffee. So yeah, the inside of this car is pretty smart. What I like is, I like the instrument cluster. It looks nice and modern. It almost looks fully digital. It's not quite. The screen in the middle is digital, but the dials themselves are kind of projected on from behind. You've got a nice heads-up display, which is an optional extra. So it displays your speed limit. It also displays the road sign speeds from the sign recognition software on this car. You can actually tweak about with a heads-up display and add different information, so gear shifting indicators, lane assist, that kind of thing, as you see fit. The Sat-Nav screen is still kind of a little bit out of place, stuck on the dashboard there, but it's a good resolution. The reverse camera looks really good, and you've got the Sync 3 system, which is kind of simple to use, and it's sort of tried and tested. So yeah, I think that's enough talk about the kind of inside of the car. The main thing I was excited about this car is the drive. I've been really looking forward to driving this car because it's got the same engine as the RS, it's the 2.3 EcoBoost. However, this is a detuned lower boost version, so this produces 275 brake horsepower. But I was really intrigued to see how this would drive. So starting out the drive, we'll put the car in normal mode. I normally drive everywhere in sport mode, but we'll put it in normal mode. We've got 4 driving modes. We've got slippery, normal, sport, and track. So with the car in normal mode, it's a really nice, easy drive. The suspension feels really nice, really supple, smooth. It flows over the bumps nicely. It's not too crashy like the RS, for example. It's just a nice, comfortable place to be. And I've done quite a long journey in this. I've had this car for a couple of days, and I went to a wedding yesterday, which was about an hour and a half drive each way. Had my wife in the car, and it was just a nice, comfortable journey. So yeah, that is a bonus. Not having, obviously this is a performance car, but having a suspension setup which can be comfortable when you need it is a good thing. Now this has the performance pack, which does give you adaptive damping as well as other features. But the adaptive damping is the one to have. I think if you're going to have one of these cars, you need to get the performance pack, because I'm really impressed with the suspension setup of this car. So if we move now into sport mode, the good thing about this is we have a sport mode button on the steering wheel. So you just press that button once and you're immediately in sport mode. Now, as always with sport mode on cars, you immediately feel the throttle become a lot more responsive. There seems to be a bit more noise coming into the cabin, so I think that might be the enhanced sound through the speakers. That possibly gets louder, because it does seem to get louder when you go into sport mode. And if you pin the throttle, the car really does shift. Now also in sport mode, much like the RS, you get the pops and crackles from the exhaust. Now the exhaust on this car, I mean, nowadays we have these GPFs, we've got the catalytic converter, the baffle. There's a lot of stuff going on these exhausts, and with modern day cars it makes them quieter. And this cabin is really well insulated, so you don't get the exhaust sound like you do, for example, in the Focus RS. It does seem quite toned down. But if you've got the car in sport, you're stationary, and you pop your door open and you give it some revs, it does sound quite nice. You do get quite a few pops and crackles, and it's got a nice little rasp to it. But when you're on the move, unfortunately, you can't really hear the exhaust. Now the feedback I've been getting about this car, apart from the looks, which are a bit sort of subjective at the moment, is the price. Now a base model one of these will set you back just under £30,000. Now I fully spec'd one of these on the Ford configurator, and it came out to £35,500. Now that is RS money. Is it worth £35,500? I don't know, it depends what situation you're in, but you've got to look at the market these days. Cars are getting more expensive, they're getting more sophisticated, there's a lot more technology involved now with these cars, but I can appreciate that that is a little bit pricey. So if I was in the market for one of these, I'd probably hold out just for a year or so, or a couple of years, just till prices come down to a more reasonable level, and then I'd snap one up. Right, so we are out and about now on some really nice roads, national speed limits, some nice twists and turns. I'm in sport mode now, so I've got my improved throttle response, I've got my rev matching, which is a feature of the performance pack, and I've got some pops and crackles from the exhaust. So let's see what this car is really all about. Is it impressive? So we're in second gear now. You open up the throttle, push the throttle all the way down, and it's really strong up top. From 5,000 revs, it does really pull, and it just feels really quick and progressive. It doesn't sort of it doesn't hang about. It doesn't feel very laggy. I know this car also has an anti-lag feature now, which Ford have built into it, but you've really got to pin that throttle all the way down to the floor to get the full package, so to speak. So yeah, there's the rev matching. Saves me having to heel toe. Second gear again. All the way to 7,000 revs. It's a very, very capable car. But the thing is, it's so easy as well. There's not really too much drama with it. It's not like torque steering all over the road. It's very composed. It just kind of gets on with it. It's like, you want to go fast? Okay, let's go fast. And it does it easily. Corners, so drop down to fourth, a bit of rev matching again, turn in, the nose is really pointy. On the brakes feel lovely. The chassis doesn't really feel too unsettled in the bends. And you've got that nice, there we go. It's really cool because front wheel drive cars, they normally scrabble for grip out of corners. But because the power delivery is so kind of progressive and quite linear, when you floor it out of the bend, the boost just builds nicely. Rather than all of a sudden trying to chuck you across the road as you exit the corner, it's just a nice progressive power delivery, which just makes the whole thing nice and smooth. Let's do that bit again, that bit of roads. I love this bit of road for testing these cars. We've also got an electronic limited slip diff in this car, which does help a lot as well. So we'll go second gear this time. It's really doing this effortlessly, and these tyres as well, these Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres are incredible. I mean, I know it's dry at the minute, but it's dry. We've got 275 brake horsepower going through the front wheels, and that is quite a lot, but this car just deals with it. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's very impressive. It is very impressive. But you feel safe at the same time. There we go. There we go. Oh, when you get this car past 5,000 revs, it... excuse my cough, but it's just a nice constant surge of smooth power compared to the Focus RS. The Focus RS just kind of... The Focus RS, when it kind of hits boost, it just becomes a little bit savage, a little bit mental. This feels more composed. And with the adaptive suspension, it doesn't skip around too much. It doesn't become unsettled as your speed increases over uneven surfaces. Yeah, guys, it's a nice car. I mean, I know the looks are a little bit, yeah, I'm still not too sure on the looks, but the way this thing drives, and for the weight of it as well, it's pushing near 1.5 tons, I think, this car. Ford always do performance cars well. I'm just trying to see if I can get this thing unsettled, but on a public road, it's not going to happen. I'm very intrigued to see what this is like on a track. Yeah, it's just so sharp. I've done this stretch of road. Oh, my cough. I've done this stretch of road. This is my third time now, and I'm loving every minute of it. Right, so we'll stop now. So ESC is in sport mode, driver assistance, launch control. Oh, launch control, there we go. Off the clutch. Oh. No, you can't launch this like an RS. You need to feather the throttle. I came off the clutch then and we just had wheel spin. So, but the good thing is launch control, once you've engaged it, it stays on. So I can stop again. Really cool. Whereas in the RS, it immediately cancels once you've used it. So no. Oh dear. So that's a nice little feature. So yeah, guys, that is it. This is the Focus ST. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you like this car, because I really do like it. I've been as honest as possible with the car. I'm not sort of paid or anything to say it's good. This is a genuine review. There have been a couple of things that I don't like, and I've explained those. I'm still not too sure on the looks. There are some interior bits and bobs that need better quality. There's also one thing I forgot to mention, and that's the handbrake. We've lost the traditional handbrake. We've now got one of the silly little button things, so that's another thing I don't like. But there are far, far more positives about this car that outweigh the negatives. The only thing is if you can handle the way it looks, but it drives absolutely superb. I think it's come on leaps and bounds from the previous generation ST. It's fast, it's pretty economical as well. I've been doing well over 30 miles per gallon. You can get up to near 35 miles per gallon cruising around normal driving. Spirited driving, you go down to kind of 28, 29. So yeah, it's just a nice car. So anyway, guys, as always, a massive thank you for watching. Hopefully we can have some more cars to review in the near future. But until then, if you haven't followed me on Instagram, please do. It's Car Focused. Check out my community section on YouTube. I do post updates on there every now and then as well. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done already, and like this video if you have enjoyed it. But until the next video, guys, I hope you all take care, and I shall see you soon.